All right, with that being said, welcome back to La Vida podcast. Today we are somewhere in Glendale on a small business. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming.
you. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. How
Great,
are
great.
you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Can you be kind to introduce yourself and let the viewers know who you are and what's your background?
My name is Mickey Olvera. I've lived in Los Angeles now, I think, 10 years. I moved out here because my husband or my boyfriend back then asked me to move out here. Um, so I'm originally from a place called Oxnard.
Okay.
Um, a lot of people refer to as Chiques,
Hmm.
but there's an area in Oxnard called Silver Strand. It's a
Okay.
beach community. And so my earliest recollection of being out here was I was 5 years old and we moved out there. So I'm originally from the Philippines.
Okay. Philippines.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I was born in Florida. That was the one thing my father wanted to make sure. He was a former Air Force
Okay.
in Vietnam War,
Yeah.
and he lived in the Philippines after he was discharged. And so he came. He met my birth mother in the Philippines, and then he made sure I was born in the States, and then we went right back. And so I lived there till I was 5.
And then you move over here.
Hmm. Yeah, he owned a nightclub out there. Uh, which was funny to me now, but yeah, he owned a nightclub, and so being around bar and prostitutes and stuff,
Yeah.
so it was, you know,
It was normal
it was
for you.
normal for me,
Yeah.
and they were all aunties. And I remember when I was real little that he would say I had to speak English,
Okay.
um, and I used to tell him I don't like your language. A 4-year-old telling you I don't like your language. It's because of the whole stigma of uniformed, coming and treating native and local women like shit.
I understand.
And so I didn't like, being a part of that.
Okay.
But my dad's American, so when that was all over, when him and my birth mother got a divorce, we moved back to the States, just he and I.
Hmm.
She chose not to be a mom anymore. And so my dad raised me, and this was back in the 70s.
Oh,
So
wow.
for a single man raising a daughter, it was like unheard of.
How was that upbringing?
My dad was my Superman. He
Okay.
was an amazing man. He worked hard, everything was for me. I was an only child. Um, but growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood and being, dark, it was hard, you know. Couldn't hang out with Asians because I'm not Asian enough,
Enough. Yeah.
and couldn't hang out with the white people because I'm not white enough. So the only, race that accepted me was Mexican.
Wow.
So, when we moved from the beach to inner part of Oxnard, um, I remember going to junior high and going, there's brown people like me. And then, yeah, that's when he lost total control of his daughter. So, but I mean, upbringing, he was a great man. He was everything. He met my stepmom. I was probably like 16 years old when he first met her, and she came into our life and she embraced me as her daughter.
Okay.
So I accepted her as mom. A little hard for her because she had two kids that were small. Like I think my brothers were 2 and 4 at the time.
Yeah.
So having automatically a teenage daughter now she has to deal with. So that was a little rough for her, um, especially for a woman that doesn't know how to raise a teenager, but also dealing with the fact that I was a little rambunctious, at that age. So
I
it
was
was,
gonna say that.
yeah, it was hard for her, but in the end, she did her best, and she is a great mom.
That's
I
nice.
lost my father um, when I was about 27
Well, sorry to hear that.
to cancer, and that was probably the hardest thing I ever had to deal with. Going from a man who was always in your life and having that taken away in such a quick, short amount of time. I mean, he had no idea he had cancer until he was mowing the lawn one day
Oh, wow.
and he had turned funny to
Hmm.
pick up something, and a bulge came out of his side and went
Jeez.
to the ER. And they told him that he probably had about 6 months to live.
Wow.
And so, and then having to tell his daughter that was pretty hard for him. Um, we really thought he was not going to let this take him, but in the end, it took about 14 months,
How did that impact you?
tragically. Um, I tried to be more, like I'm gonna be fine,
Hmm.
but I was not fine. My marriage, I was married to another man before, and it really took a toll on our marriage. It took a toll as just being a mother, and that selfishness came about. And right after that, coincidentally, I got hurt at a warehouse job that I was working.
Hmm.
And this was back in the, was it 90s? So that's when Vicodin was available. And so
That blew up at the time.
they, doctors back then, well, here, take
Yeah.
this. And so probably a year after my father passed away is when I became uh, addicted to pain medication. And I was addicted to that for like about
How
13
how
years.
what you introduced to that? And did something happen?
Yeah, I ended up hurting my back. I was doing some quality control in the back, and boxes fell on me.
Wow.
And so I was taken to urgent care, evaluated there, and they said I already had, it was a pinched nerve in my L4 and L5.
Hmm.
And they had said that it was probably already going to happen, but this aggravated it. So they wanted to do surgery. I was like adamant, no, I'm not going to do surgery. So I'll just deal with it.
Hmm.
And but what I didn't realize is how much the doctor's influence of, here, take these pills, you'll feel
Wow.
better. And so I was a functioning mom, just but strung out on medication.
When did you felt or you notice that this is your daily usage?
Probably the first time I passed out in front of my kids.
No way.
Yeah. And my kids were standing around me and just kind of sitting with me, just making sure I was okay.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, I have a problem. And but it was a hard one to kick.
You look for help or how was that?
Tried, I tried, and it just I don't know how else to explain it, that it was just better just to take the pills and not tell anybody I had an addiction,
Okay.
and then just be a functioning mom, and but also a drug addict,
Yeah.
you know? And so I put myself in rehab. There was a short period of time I put myself in rehab, and that didn't work. It wasn't enough. I was bullshitting my way in there too.
Yeah.
And but as my kids were getting older and they're seeing their mom like that, it's when it really started affecting me. And so my ex-husband and I went through a separation, and I said, I just can't do this anymore. So I spent a year of just focusing on meetings and getting off it, and got myself clean, So 13 years of an addiction,
Congratulations.
yeah. So yeah, been pretty good so
That's
far.
good. That's good. So you felt at one point, what was the decision of you saying, "This is it. I'm definitely done"?
The
Because
divorce.
the
The
divorce.
divorce. My ex-husband and I, we were together since I was 15 years old.
Okay.
So when you're with your, childhood sweetheart, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it, um, you don't grow up as if, how I want to say this. Um, Somebody who's single in their early 20s, they're going through it, they're trying to find their right person.
Yeah.
Well, for us, we were 15, now we're 20. Oh, I guess we should get married. I guess we should start having kids. And so, but you don't, when you're together that long, and you were together when you were children, and now you're together as adults, sometimes you don't have the communication you should have.
Okay.
You haven't adulted yet, you're
Hmm.
adulting together. And so communication was hard for both of us.
Wow.
We didn't know how to communicate with each other. And so we acted like we were still in high school.
Okay.
And so as the kids were getting older, the one thing I didn't want was them thinking that this was normal, that this is how you treat your spouse,
Yeah. A relationship.
your relationship. And so my ex-husband and I, we would get disrespectful, and we didn't take in consideration that it was hurting our kids.
Wow.
And so we decided, or I decided, that we're going to split. And so I spent a year going, just to meetings and figuring out what it was that triggered all of this. And
Hmm.
it had to do with the death of my father. That's what triggered it. And so I've been clean and sober since then. It's been 13 years.
13 years.
So I'm proud of that. My kids are proud of that.
As they should.
Very proud of that. Um, I have the utmost respect for my ex-husband. That's the father of my children. I never spoke badly about him,
Mhm.
and he knows that. Um, I've had two relationships in my life: my ex-husband and
Mhm.
my husband. So it's it's a good life so far.
That's good. That's great. Well, you deserve that,
Yeah.
You're going through a lot. So you're going through this change in life, right?
Hmm.
You feel that either when someone is an addict on
Hmm.
any type of a substance, you feel that admitting that there's an issue, there's a problem, there's an addiction, right?
Hmm.
Um, in looking for help, that will be the proper way instead of lying to yourself, or how do you feel?
I think addressing the issue. I mean, it's one thing when it comes to addiction, you can't be told you need to get sober. Someone coming outside of you knowing that, someone telling you you have to do that, nobody's ready to get sober unless they're ready to get sober. You can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped.
Correct.
And so for those, for the time that I was, on that medication, I liked the way I felt. I felt great,
Yeah.
and I was functioning. So I was able to, take my kids to school. But, I was a stay-at-home mom at that time. And so I was on the board on their football team, did everything for the teams, and I was functioning.
Wow.
There would just be times where I would, excuse myself and then have my moment,
Yeah.
but for anything for my kids. But addiction, when it comes, anybody who's not ready to get help, they're just not going to get the help.
Correct.
So if I could give any advice, it would be to talk to somebody, get a sponsor, talk to them,
Hmm.
hear other people's experiences. So maybe there's some connection where you can say, I know exactly how you feel. And so that means I can get sober. I can get rid of this. And because it's kind of a sickness, it's a
Yeah.
disease. And so if you can get rid of that and find that inner part of you that that you can still love, then you have a great chance of getting sober, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't need a bunch of people around you, in the background cheering. That's always great, but it's just always it's inside of
It's
you.
within you, right?
Yeah, it's within you. You have to want to change. You
Up.
have to
Yeah.
want to get rid of it all.
Hmm.
And it was the best decision I ever made. I think about it like how many times did my kids think I was going to die? There was times where I'd pass out and my kids one of my boys or my daughter would be sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh, sorry, you
Yeah.
know, that's all it was. I'm sorry.
I
But
understand.
it was also unspoken. My kids never went out and told their friends my mom's an addict.
Yeah.
It was a private thing in our home.
Now that you're sober for 13 years,
Hmm.
how are your kids seeing you? How do they think about the whole
They love
addiction
it.
situation and all that?
They love it. It's still a private matter. I don't know how they'll feel about me talking about it out loud, but um, they're really supportive. When there was a day I was texting him, I go, I think I text him randomly. I go, I think I'm 13, 14 years sober. I never kept track.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that keep track, like the anniversary comes up. I didn't want that anniversary.
Okay.
And so that was one thing I didn't like about going to meetings is they would, bring up their anniversary. Oh, today I'm sober. I'm like, I don't remember the day, but then I do remember the day. It was actually at my goddaughter's wedding. I
Okay.
It was my first time seeing my ex-husband at face to face, and I got any we nothing was said, but I just got really nervous, and somebody had pills there,
No
and
way.
I go, just give me something, and I took it, and I ended up passing out, and I was so angry with myself for letting myself be weak enough to do that to
Hmm.
myself. And then I was done. That was it. I was so angry with it. And I'm like, I'm done with this. And, but I remember texting one of my kids and I thought, I think I'm 13 years. And he goes, wow. He goes, that's great, Mom. I mean, he was just all encouragement.
That's great.
So I have very supportive kids when it comes to that. When it
That's
comes to that.
great.
Yeah.
That's good. And so, what exactly did you do after that? What was your other field of work after you got clean and started moving forward with life?
So at that time, uh, my ex-husband's best friend bought a tattoo shop
Hmm.
in Ventura, where we lived, and asked me to apprentice body piercing.
Okay.
And I had been in the medical field for quite some time, and I kind of laughed at it at first, like, and he goes, "No, no, no. I know you know how to work around a needle. What I want you to learn is technique." And so I was like, "Okay." So did my apprenticeship, and it just kind of stuck with me. And then when I went through the divorce, I didn't want to go back to the medical field because I didn't want that option of I could
Oh, okay.
get back into the
Get
thing.
access
So
to that.
I want to change everything. And so I started working at a tattoo shop in Ventura, and I stayed there for about 5 years, and I just loved it. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the artists, the artists there. We were really close where I was working, and so I just stuck with it. And
Okay.
then from there, I went to another shop and another shop after that. And it was a lot of fun.
That's
It was
great.
very satisfying, seeing a piece of jewelry on someone, if that can make you, your self-esteem
Yeah.
get brought up. And it was just a lot of fun. And so um, time passed, and then I met my husband, and I moved out to LA, and I didn't have a job out here,
Hmm.
so I got a job at a dermatology office in Pasadena,
Okay.
and that's when laser tattoo removal kind of was brought up, and it had been going back and forth on it. We started doing some research on what lasers were the best
Hmm.
and what we needed to do, and um, buying a laser is not as easy as it sounds. It's like buying a house.
Okay.
They're just as expensive as a house.
Wow.
Um, so your credit has to be good, and you have to have a really nice down payment, and then be able to make money off of it too. And so I wasn't really too sure if that was the route I wanted to go with
Hmm.
until I was working late night with one of the owners at a shop that I used to work for. And she asked me, "Do you think you can hang out for a little bit? I want you to talk to somebody." I go, "You good?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah. I just want you to meet someone." Okay. So this woman came with her daughter and her mom, and she was walking in, and she was in a walker,
Hmm.
and she had a little bit of a gimp, and she was getting a cover up on the back of her neck, probably a name like about that big on the back of her neck. Roses, that's like the obvious to cover anything up as roses.
Yeah.
And so we sat there, and she goes, "I want you to hear her story." And I'm like, "Okay." And so let's just call her Maria.
Hmm.
Maria said, she was 13 years old, and she had met a guy in his 20s,
Hmm.
and they fell in love. And he told her how much he loved her, and he was going to be the only one who could take care of her the way she needed to be taken care of. And she fell for it, and she packed her bags and ran away with him. And as soon as she got over state lines, he beat the living shit out of her. And he beat her to the point where until she was submissive.
Okay.
And then he started turning her out at the truck stops. So he groomed her, and then he sex trafficked her. And he did that for years. And then for those years, she ended up having a daughter. And I get shaky when I talk about
Yeah.
this. Uh, to the point where she couldn't take it anymore.
Wow.
And so she decided to call her mom. She called her mom, and it'd been years. Mom thought she was dead. And they planned an escape plan. And now she's home. Her mom was there. And her mom, quiet, wasn't crying. She was just quiet.
Listening.
And I said, "What scares you the most?" And she said that he's going to walk through that door and take my daughter. And that was it. That's all I needed to hear. So I spent the next 2 years after that cleaning up my credit, saving my money, and I bought those lasers. And I said that I would do tattoo removal for free if anyone ever came to me and said, "Take this off,"
Yeah.
and no questions asked.
Wow.
So that's where my passion is now, making sure that those women, and it doesn't stop with them,
Hmm.
formerly incarcerated. I have family that's formerly incarcerated,
Yeah.
and they just want a second chance. So they have those tattoos that they got when they were younger, and
Correct.
everyone makes mistakes,
Correct.
and so everyone deserves to have that second chance.
Yes.
So 4 million incarcerated, gang affiliated. We get a lot of kids in here that are trying to get in the military now because that's their option. Okay, well, you can't have visible tattoos, and especially gang related tattoos.
Yeah.
They won't let you in. So we remove that for free. Anything I can do to help that, I'm there for it.
So, what year you said I'm gonna buy the machine and I'm gonna open my own business? How
That was
did that came along?
that was about 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, I went to training in Colorado to learn how to work the lasers with the company that I decided to go with,
Okay.
and came back, saved, put a nice chunk down, and then they got delivered, and we were just ecstatic. Now then we were scared, like,
Okay.
okay, now how do we build this? So we just started reaching out to different organizations. I reached out to, the sheriff's department, reached out to Glendale PD. Um, we actually had a contract with Anaheim Juvenile Detention Center, or not Anaheim, Orange County
Okay.
Juvenile Detention Center. And they were actually building this new complex where they were taking kids that were actually really trying to get out of whatever they were taken in for.
Hmm.
And so they had to earn their way through this program, and they were, getting educated. They were uh, job teaching them for different types of jobs out there, and they were wanting to work with us to help get tattoos off these youngsters, and we were ready to sign contracts. So we got to tour their facility, and then right after that, I guess there was an escape attempt
No way.
for some of the juvenile inmates in there, and they shut the whole program down.
No way.
So we lost that,
Gee.
but it was pretty cool when we went and saw the facility. It was nice, but yeah, whoever they blew that one. Um, but we work with a lot of kids in the area. What's frightening is that we're seeing more and more sex trafficking victims, and we've had a lot of facilities reach out to us to help some of their clients.
Okay.
Um, Coming from a small town, I never believed in sex trafficking before I moved to LA.
Hmm.
I always thought that was some sort of made up thing. It's very conservative where I'm from, and so they would put blame on the victim, not the person's inflicting the victim, with
I
this.
understand.
And but moving out to LA and hearing these women's stories, I was shocked and just blown away by it,
Yeah.
on how you're groomed and taken away from your families, away from your friends, from the people who would tell you that this is not okay. I mean, growing up in high school, I remember partying with 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
I remember doing all that, but I never thought of it as being trafficked. You know, you have a different outlook when you hear some of these stories. And Maria's was the one that really shook me, on what he did to her, and how he did it to her, and how he placed himself in her life and convinced her so easily that it was he was going to be that one. And as soon as he got her away from the family, he just destroyed everything that she thought that she was going to get.
Wow.
So it was something that I had to be a part of. And so I removed that shit for free. Yep.
I'm sure she's happy for that. How is trafficking related with the type of job that you do? How is that related?
Well, what I didn't realize was, when some of these women get trafficked, the men will tattoo them for whatever reason. For her, Maria, when he put his name on her neck, that's how he would find her at the truck stops. So
Oh,
she would have to wear her hair up, and he would have binoculars wherever he was, and he could find her at the truck stops. Also, it was a brand where that's who she belonged to. So I was pretty shocked with that. Had no idea that that's how they would, you
So
know,
she will be branded
she
so
would
no
be
one else can eventually
exactly,
take her because,
exactly. She was property of somebody.
wow.
And so I have another sex trafficking victim, same thing. She was married to this man. She known him forever, and they moved out of state,
Wow.
and then everything changed with him. And he branded her. He branded her chest with his name. We're removing that. So it's just pretty shocking that that's the tactic they use
Yeah.
to show that they're taken or property of. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
With everything going on in the world with the Epstein files and everything, and you hear these girls talk, and they weren't taken to that extreme because they're more of a high end, whatever he did. But the fact that these men would tattoo their women to show property of it disgusts me.
That
So
part.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to remove that shit for free.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind blowing at the end of the day how certain individuals, certain human beings treat people like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a little bit uncomfortable.
It very uncomfortable because then you start thinking about yourself when as a woman, like, did anyone ever try that with me? I mean, I can probably say maybe 40% of the women out there that are my age or in their 30s and 40s can remember a time in high school where maybe a relationship didn't feel right, it felt a little weird, or maybe an older guy just put way too much attention on you when he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That's the scary part,
Wow.
you
What
know.
will be when any of the female viewers or maybe the moms, what will be the advice that you feel that you want to share to them as if they see any red flags, they should be talking to whoever they feel comfortable with, or they should be expressing themselves in any way, shape, or form?
When it comes to teenage girls, it's have open communication with them. You're still a parent. You're
Hmm.
not their friend. It's not, hang out with me and, I'm your homegirl kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's more of I'm your mother first. But you can come to me for anything. You can tell me anything. Nothing you say will make me hate you.
Yeah.
But if you don't have open communication with your child, then you're going to miss a lot. My father, he had no idea what he was doing. And I got away with a lot of shit. And we were talking about the other day with we mentioned hitchhiking, and I said, God, I remember doing that at 14. That's some scary shit, you know? And so, things like that. I remember, okay, so, and this has nothing to do with it, but I remember when they were freshmen in high school.
Hmm.
And I remember all the stuff I did my high school years. And the one thing I told them is their freshman year, right before school started,
Yeah.
each one of them. Number one, there's nothing in this town that you can do that I won't find out within a week. Number two, I know back in Ventura,
Yeah.
I know the captain of the police department. That's number two. I said, there's a difference between being a fun, you know, football playing, having a great time personality,
Yeah.
and then having being a burnout. You're going to experiment. You're going to do things that are questionable. And I go, because high school is the best years of your life.
Hmm.
You're going to have a great time. But you're also going to be put in positions where you have to make a decision.
Hmm.
Don't be the idiot to make the bad decision. You know, it takes a moment for your life to get fucked up
Yeah.
completely. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this. How
Correct.
many of your friends in high school actually made it out of high school?
Not a lot.
Either in prison or they're dead.
Yeah. My best friend is doing 52 live without possibility of
I
parole.
have like 3 friends that are life without parole.
Hmm.
And that's some scary shit.
Yeah.
All because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Correct.
And so we've been blessed I have 3 children, my husband has 3 children, and we've been blessed that all of the kids are amazing.
That's
Not
great.
one of them ended up in a bad situation, not one of them ended up in prison, nothing. No addictions, especially coming from me,
Yeah.
and they were never anything like that. They all came out great. Is because we stopped being their friends.
Yeah.
were their parents
Yep,
first.
correct.
That, and that's how my for me, that's how I raise my children.
You think being a parent, you have to be open-minded as well?
Oh, 100%. You got to hear them out. Example, I get girls in here for piercing
Mhm.
and jewelry, and they'll come in here demanding from their mother how much they want to spend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're 16 years old, you don't need a $500 piece of jewelry. You can go lower.
Mhm.
Mom's paying for it. But did you earn it? Did you earn this? Did you get good grades?
Mhm.
You've been respectful at home? You're doing your chores, all that. I'm not afraid to tell them that in front of their mother or
Mhm.
their father, whoever's here. I've had girls in here disrespect their parents in front of me.
No way.
And the first thing I say is, oh, no, we're not doing that. Not in front of me or not. You can do that at home with your mom if that's what she allows, but not here. So there's a line you don't cross,
Okay.
when it comes to your parents. You but you also give respect for your children too, you know. So it's both a two-way street.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you're on top of those things, but mostly just making sure that you have that communication with your
I think,
kids.
well, times are changing, evolution at its best.
Yep.
I think the internet and media and all that comes
Yeah.
into play with a lot of decisions.
The COVID made it worse.
That,
I didn't know TikTok existed until COVID, and then my bonus daughter put it on my phone,
yeah.
and I remember like it was one of those days, and I remember looking at it, and I was just scrolling through, and then 5 hours later, I'm like, oh, I'm still in bed. Okay, I got to get up. I wasn't really into Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, it's just for business,
Yeah.
but TikTok is the one that gets you. But you can see how people can be easily influenced.
Yeah.
Easily. So I was watching a podcast and they were talking about a game, and I can't remember it for the life of me, but that's how sex trafficking
Roblox.
that's it.
Hmm.
How they're going on there and recruiting
Yes,
kids.
man.
I was just dumbfounded. First off, why are you letting your kid on that shit? That's my number one. Like, if they're spending hours on there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're now that's a parental problem.
Yeah.
But those people getting on that and recruiting kids, and they
Yeah.
were just going back. I think it was Sean Ryan that what they were doing it with that.
Yeah. He interviewed this individual. He was a kid as well,
Yes.
young guy, and he says, yeah, they was trafficking and picking
And he
up
was just
kids.
breaking it down how it
Man,
worked.
it's
The
just
first thing
terrible.
I did was call my daughter. I'm like making sure that
You don't have the kid.
you're monitoring these things, right?
Yeah.
That my granddaughter's on.
Yeah.
She goes, oh yeah. She goes, I don't let her have more than this amount of time. And she goes, I monitor everything. It comes back to me what she's looking at. And I'm like, okay, just making sure because I'm not tech savvy, but I don't know how all works. She goes, oh no, everything she downloads, everything she looks up, I know about it. And I'm like, okay, good. We're good.
That was going to be my next question. You think now that all of that internet stuff and some parents old school,
Hmm.
they don't know anything about phones, apps.
Educate yourself.
You know what I mean?
You can't, you have to know what they're doing.
Hmm.
So you need to educate yourself. You need to figure out, whatever it is, the lingo, the sites,
Yeah.
because if teenagers, the kids lie. They're going to, if they
They
really,
lie.
they lie.
Yeah.
And so if they're looking at something they don't want you to know, they're,
Yeah.
oh no, I don't look at that. Grab their phone and look,
Yeah.
so I mean, that that's the only way I can think of it. I'm just glad that my kids were raised, in the 90s, early 2000s instead of now,
Yeah.
because everything is so exposed
It's
on
different.
these um, what do you call it? These sites. I just don't understand it, but I'm glad my daughter's on top of it. I'm glad our other daughter with her kids are on top of it. So yeah, it blows you away.
I understand. Going back into the sex trafficking,
Hmm.
you think that majority of those females have some type of didn't have no enough relationship with their parents, that's why they took the decision, or maybe they want to get away from home and feel free
I think
type of decision?
Yeah, depending on what the situation was. I mean, the girl Maria,
Hmm.
she came from a broken home. Her mom was raising all the kids by herself. So, as a single parent, you're going to slip
Hmm.
and you can't keep your eye on everybody. If you're working full time and taking care of children, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's no one's fault. It's no one's fault. I'm not putting blame on anyone when it comes to stuff like that. You're doing your best. I get it. But it's I think it's more of the environment that we're in now when the social media access limit it, you know? They'll be mad, but that's okay. Let them be mad. Again, you're not their friend.
Yeah.
You're their parent.
Correct.
Having open communication, but also discipline. I don't believe in that whole soft discipline. I'm sorry, but I don't.
Yeah.
Um, I ran my house like a drill sergeant. My father was military. My grandfather, my great grandfather, they were all military, and he ran his house like a drill sergeant. And I did that with my boys because I wasn't going to have my boys grow up to be like their dad or their uncles or, and so it was sports only.
Okay.
My daughter, I didn't have to worry about. She was a homebody. She was shy, tomboyish,
Hmm.
so she wasn't that girl who wanted to go out and party and be popular. She was never that girl. But whoever your child is, their personality is talk to them.
Yeah.
Go in their room, open the damn door, sit down. What are you doing? What are you watching?
Yeah.
You know, who's so and so? Ask those questions. Be their parent. But I think everyone's household, however they raise their children, that's something that's personal to them, but also you don't be single-minded, don't be focused on one thing only. Look at the broader picture, you know?
Yeah.
Protect your babies with what by all means necessary. I don't care what it is,
Correct.
especially with these sick people out there now.
Correct. Is there any advice that you want to share to the female viewers that we have, as let them know if they encounter anything like that, what they can do or what they can say or who they.
First thing is talk to somebody, anybody. Pull them aside. If somebody is grooming you, know the signs. You know, there's plenty of resources out there to reach out to and get the help you need. Call me. I'll refer you to whoever I can. Um, it's scary. This world is scary right now.
Yeah.
We're on a what if, you know, portion of it. Are we going to war? Is the stock market gonna crash? Are we in a recession? We have a lot to worry about. The last thing we need to worry about is if our neighbor is going to kidnap our child and do all that,
Isn't that the
or a
truth?
family member. But if there's girls out there that need help, there are so many resources that you can reach out to. Even if you just walked up to somebody and said, "Help me," somebody will help you, So, and then there's people out there that will do everything they can to get you to a safe place, whether it's another family member or an organization or the police department. Don't be afraid to speak up. We're in a day now where when women say, this man did this or this boy did this, we're listening now. We're not turning the cheek anymore. We're listening and we're acting, and we will tell you, oh no, they're not getting away with that, you know? So that's where I stand with it.
That's nice. Well, thank you for sharing that. So going back to your business, now that you have, a place, is your husband helping you? Your current husband?
Yeah, he helps me once in a while. No, he's the that's my best friend, my business partner, my soulmate. He puts me on a pedestal, and he he helps me with everything. Everything I need, he drops everything for me. So, but yeah, sometimes he does treatments, but it's mostly me.
That's great. What is the most you have ages of people that come over and reach out to you for
Mhm,
tattoo removal?
mhm.
What is your most man, female?
Mostly male. I would say male. Well, the girls are, I think it's equal. Let me just stop that.
Hmm.
So, the difference between men and women is that the women take the treatments way better than the men.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that I could be removing an arm piece from a man, and he could have been 10 years right out of prison. 10 years. He did strong, 10 years. And every inch or 2 inches, it's can we stop? Can we stop? Can we just give me a minute? Give me a minute." And I'll stand there and I'll say, "Absolutely, we can give you a minute. Just breathe. Breathe with me." And then I have girls taking off full side pieces and they're laying there just breathing like nothing. So men are a little bit harder than women.
Guilty. Not gonna say no.
I wasn't gonna say
It's
anything. You
okay.
you said.
It's all right.
But the women handle it a whole lot better,
Yeah.
so it's an easy procedure and it's a really quick procedure.
Mhm.
And it, to remove a tattoo is so fulfilling for the client and for us. The client, for whatever reason why they're removing it,
Mhm.
whether it's to lighten it so they can get a better tattoo, or it's an X or a time of their life that they just don't want to to remember it
Correct.
that way. Removal is possible. It's
What's the process for that?
so, as in making an appointment, or just
Just
the
say
tattoo
we
removal.
already I'm
So
here.
when
You're
it
gonna
comes
remove my
yeah,
tattoo.
so when it comes to tattoo removal, the first thing I always tell my clients is, look, I can't tell you how long it's going to take. I
Mhm.
have no idea. There are variables when it comes to removal:
Mhm.
location of the tattoo, what kind of ink was used, machine, pigment of skin, all of that. Those are all the variables when it comes to removal.
Mhm.
But it is possible. It just takes time. It takes patience and takes consistency. So if you can get past that and not think that a one shot and done, that, oh, my tattoo's not going to be there, that's not how it works. And I get those calls sometimes like, oh, I just want to come in for one treatment. That's not how it works. So, whoever is interested in removal, the best thing is to just, educate yourself first. Um, Talk to your technician or me, uh, and get all the information you need, then to make your decision. But I can tell you that it is possible, and
Okay.
it is life changing, especially if you're removing tattoos that really have, either hindered, you getting a job,
Mhm.
or you're looking at, a person who hurt you in the past, or or those visible tattoos that's preventing you from getting a job.
Yeah.
That all can be removed. It just takes time.
What is average time for just like a
It
small
depends.
tattoo, like 6 by 6?
It depends. I never make it a point to tell my clients. There's facilities out there that'll say, "Oh yeah, I can remove that in 10 sessions." And they're lying to you because they have no idea how long it's going to take.
Wow.
We don't know. And so we take it treatment by treatment, making sure your skin stays intact and
Mhm.
healthy, but also removing those ink particles. Most of our clients, I would say 75, maybe 85% of our clients want to lighten their tattoos so they can get them covered up.
Mhm.
I'm for it. I'm here to support the artists. When we work with clients, I mean, excuse me, the people that refer to us mostly are tattoo artists.
Mhm.
And they refer to me because they trust me. They know that I'm going to take care of their clients. They know I'm going to be honest with their clients, but also get them back in the chair with the artist. That's my goal. I don't want to remove tattoos so you never see them again. I would much rather lighten them so you can get back in the chair.
Got
That's
it.
my goal.
Got it.
That's my goal.
What is well, laser tattooing, but what's the process when you say laser tattooing?
The process, so the consultation is first. We go over your tattoo, we go over pricing, we make sure you're comfortable with that.
Mhm.
And then when you come in, people think it's like, a long process. It's minutes, depending on how large the tattoo is and depending if the client sits still enough.
Mhm.
So, usually our clients are here no more than 15 minutes. So, and the ones that are returners, when they're coming in, they're here less than 5 to 10 minutes.
That's
That's how
quick.
quick it is. Yeah.
Pain related.
Oh,
0 to 10.
it's 10 always. It sucks,
Mhm.
but it's the same type of feeling you get when, remember that part where it's shading and
Yeah.
that burning sensation? Same thing,
Yeah.
but mine's instant. So when you get a tattoo and you're going through the line work or the shading,
Yeah.
and then it starts to burn, and then you're like, but then after a while you're like, oh, I'm okay. It's your endorphins kicking in. It's your body protecting your mind that you're in pain. And so it kind of numbs you out a little bit.
Mhm.
And then you're still feeling it, but it's not as intense.
Okay.
Okay. When you do laser treatment, the problem with it is that it's instant. And so your endorphins are trying to catch up. So if you have a large piece, probably midway, you'll start kind of relaxing a little bit more. But initially, it's like, oh, yeah, that hurts. That doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great, but nothing that numbing cream can't help with.
Does it
So
help or not
I
really?
think it does.
Okay.
It just depends on location.
Okay.
So if you're getting like a tattoo removal on your spine
Mm-hmm.
and you're removing there, yeah, you're gonna feel it. That's where all your nerve endings are. But if you have one on your thigh right here and you use numbing cream,
Yeah.
you don't feel it. I think the first time we got numbing cream and we used it, um, my husband started treating me and I couldn't stop laughing. I said, I don't feel a thing,
No way.
not one thing. And he just, and I have a piece like this big we were removing. And so, yeah, sat through the whole thing, was fine. Now, my ankle,
Yeah.
I asked him for a divorce. I did.
It was that painful?
Oh, yeah. And the first thing he says, he stopped and looked at me, goes, you can't say that to me. And I'm like, I'm saying it right now. I want a divorce. It hurt so bad.
Oh wow. He wanted a divorce. He was like payback time.
Yeah, he didn't think that was funny, but I thought it was.
What is the most painful that you have heard from the clients? The ribs, stomach, chest.
Anywhere the skin is thinner. So ribs, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ankles, yes. By the spine, yes. Wrists, hand, yeah. But here, here, stomach,
Mm-hmm.
um, on the sides, they usually do fine with numbing cream. I always recommend numbing cream, but not for the first visit. Your
Okay.
first visit, no, I want you to feel it. No, there's a reason why.
Okay.
So the reason why I want you to feel it is because if you start off with numbing cream and there's areas where you didn't put enough numbing cream, you're going to feel that.
Yeah.
You're going to get like, and you're not respecting the numbing cream. But if you feel it once and that's how it feels without numbing cream, and then you use numbing cream the second time, then you have respect for it. Like, oh, I'm going to feel a little bit, but it's nowhere near what it was
From the
before.
beginning.
Yeah. So
Have
that's
you
why.
had clients that they walk away once they feel the first?
No,
No.
everyone sits through. Maybe it's because I like, you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything, it's how you talk to your client. So, you always want to be patient. You always want to make sure they're breathing, not holding their breath, um, and comfortable
Yeah.
in a safe space, But all of our clients do good, all of them, We may have to take a few stops here and there, but most of the clients do great.
What is the biggest piece that you have removed?
A girl from Ukraine removed from here down to about right here.
Jeez.
Little tiny thing too. She was little, and she sat through the whole thing.
Took it like a champ.
Yeah, we got in probably about 15 sessions before she was deported.
15
Mhm.
sessions.
She was almost done,
Wow.
and so now she'll have to take care of her treatments in Ukraine. But she was deported. It was gonna When I started coming to Los Angeles, she had said, "If I don't show up on an appointment, you know what happened."
Yeah.
And she would show up every single appointment. And then there was one day she didn't show, and then my heart broke for her. I was like, "Okay." They sent her away.
What's the process after you do a laser? Do the customer has to take care of the skin? No sun? No
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 sun.
pool?
No sun. Your skin is now photosensitive, meaning if you were to go out into the sun,
Mm-hmm.
it'll flash burn, and it does not feel good. So what we tell our clients is you can exercise. In fact, we encourage you to exercise because that helps your metabolism and your white blood cells.
Mm-hmm.
We tell you no swimming because if you blister and it pops, it's considered an open wound. So blistering is normal. We
Mm-hmm.
welcome blistering. It just means your body's absorbing. So we just tell you that's fine. Just put a band-aid or a
Mm-hmm.
bandage over it. Don't pop it, leave it alone. So but no swimming for the first 2 weeks or
Mm-hmm.
submerging in water for 2 weeks. But other than that, go about your day, exercise, go to work. There's nothing that keeps you from, carrying on your normal routine.
So sweat will not affect.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. If you're going in a sauna, that would probably be another one. I'd say, let's wait a couple of weeks
Mm-hmm.
and then you can get back in the sauna. But because saunas get gross bacteria.
Yeah,
But for the most part, no, you can go about your normal routine.
that's great.
Someone, when I first got the machine, we went to Golden State Tattoo Expo right here in Pasadena, and someone told me, "Aren't you nervous?" I go, "For what?" And she goes, "To go to a tattoo convention and you remove tattoos." And I go, "Well, no." I go, "Because who wouldn't want to remove a shitty tattoo?" you know? And so most artists these days don't do cover ups. They'll tell you, go lighten it. Where 10 years ago, they were absolutely against it.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't like this. This is not part of our community kind of thing. And but as laser technology progressed and you saw those results, it made a big difference for tattoo artists. People that you would look at a tattoo and say, I can't go over that. I mean, it's too dark. You lost a client. Well, you send them to me and you give me a few treatments with them and I lightened it. You just got yourself a client. So
Correct.
we work hand in hand. So,
I was gonna say that.
there's a lot of artists that refer to me now. And so that they don't want to do cover ups. They don't want to, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Cover up something and adjust their artwork to accommodate someone else's artwork. And so they would like a clean palette.
Hmm.
And so if I can get them light enough where it's visible, you can still see it, but something where they can put detail on it, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they 100% refer.
Yeah, they don't like to touch somebody else's work.
No,
Yeah, it's
no. Well, remember back in the day, you don't cover up
yeah.
somebody else's
No,
tattoo. That's
that
disrespectful.
was yeah.
And so now it's like, oh yeah, we'll cover that up. Everyone wants to make money. That's the business. But if I can lighten the tattoo to get it light enough to they where they can now do
Mhm.
their tattoo, oh yeah, it's
You
definitely a
think,
game
yeah,
changer.
back in the days, ink to what the ink that is today is it different? It makes your job easier
The ink that they're using,
currently from 10 years ago.
yes. The ink from 20 years ago is crap. Really was. Now the ink now, the ink now, I mean, look at just from example. Look at that. It's
Yeah,
blue. It oxidizes.
yeah,
It turns blue. Look at your leg. The ink is completely different and it's so much better now. And so, yeah, a lot of people, I want to remove this because I like the new style. I like the new ink that's
yeah.
coming out. That's the tattoo I want. And so, yeah, I'm happy to accommodate that. Well, and I can remove blue ink so I can get rid of it for you.
More work for you.
Yeah.
And how's the piercing related to?
They're just both my passion.
Okay.
I don't, I'm not, I've never been that, person like I'm a partier. I never was a partier. I was just mostly in my home.
Mhm.
Um, this is all I do. This is my addiction now, my business.
Yeah.
I'll separate myself from everybody and just come here and work. I work 6 days a week. And there's times where I want to work seven, but he won't let me. Um, it's just my passion. For piercing, it's I've had girls with stage 4 cancer in my chair.
Wow.
I've had girls that went through a really hard breakup and they're just losing it. And I've had little girls here that were so petrified to get their ears pierced, but when they saw themselves with their earrings, you see their faces light up. That's everything. And so my passion and my love is piercing.
Yeah.
And then my my passion and my love is for my lasers and changing their lives. Even if I'm just doing eyebrow removal, that's detrimental for a female.
Hmm.
They get their brows done and then they see it and they're like, I don't like this. And this is the first thing you're seeing on me, you know,
Yeah.
and they're devastated, but I can remove that for you. And when it's gone, they're like, I didn't think this could be done.
Wow.
So it's fulfilling in so many ways, changing lives. I said the stage 4 cancer. A woman came in and she had stage 4,
Hmm.
and she was on her way out, and she always wanted a septum piercing.
What's that?
It's right here in the bridge of your nose, right
Okay.
here, and she always wanted one. And I said, okay, let's do this. She passed away about 8 months later.
Wow.
Yeah,
She was happy.
yeah.
That's good.
Yep. I think the funniest one recently was a woman in her 70s came and she wanted a nostril piercing. She came with her granddaughter.
Hmm.
And I asked her, why now? And she goes, oh, my husband forbid it. And I'm like, ooh, that's an ugly word. Forbid? And I'm like, but wait a minute, your husband, why are you here now then? And she goes, oh, he died 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
I go, I just stood there and I go, what? Excuse me? She goes, he died 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
That's my
wow.
granddaughter called me and said, I'm going to take you to go get your nostril pierced. And I'm like, we high fived and I said, let's do this. And we pierced her nose. But that was the only reason that kept her from getting her nose pierced was because her husband forbid it.
Wow.
And then he died.
You think,
That was the funniest one.
yeah, well, I don't think forbidden. It was taboo. I feel that back in the 80s, 90s,
Hmm.
only seeing people
Had piercings.
piercing
It was very
tattoos,
masculine.
right?
So everything was silver and everything was gauge was huge, and yes, if you had a septum piercing or you had, just everything was just so large.
Hmm.
And so about 15, maybe 18 years ago, you saw a shift in the type of jewelry that the vendors were offering.
Okay.
So before it was very masculine, very bold, no design, simple barbells, rings. That's it. Captive bead rings. And now, and so the companies were like, you know what? Our clients are getting older. They're in their 30s now. We want finer jewelry. We want gold.
Yeah.
And so they started shifting, they started putting out gold. Well, let's make it daintier so it's a little bit more appealing. Businesses, I can't stand businesses that won't hire you because you have a piercing.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with their work ethic? Nothing, absolutely nothing. They're expressing themselves for with jewelry. Why do you have a problem with that? So, and the same goes for tattoos.
Yeah.
Bugs the hell out of me. But the jewelry got fine with finer jewelry, so I only carry gold
Okay.
and I still have a strong clientele. People want the good quality
Yeah.
jewelry, and it almost becomes like a contest, with some of my clients. Like, oh, don't tell so and so, she'll kill me if she knows I was here. And I'm like, okay, but they'll drop $500 for their piercings and jewelry. Okay, that's great, you
Yeah.
know, but that's my clientele. And it doesn't take away from anybody at the other shops that do $25 piercings. I'm not taking away from that. Um, but it's just the jewelry makes you feel better.
It's a choice.
It's a choice,
Yeah.
and you work hard for it. Gold is an investment and you work
Correct.
hard for it. So why not spoil
Yes.
yourself?
Invest in yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, any of your kids are following your steps?
Not one. I tried, there was a couple of them that were interested.
Yeah.
And then they're like, nah, never mind. Not one. I was really hoping I could pass it to one, at least two of them.
At least two
Even
of
even my sister-in-law's daughter, she
Yeah.
she was interested from, and then she went into tattooing.
Hmm.
But I was like, yeah, come so I can teach you. No, nobody's interested. I think it's because they see how much I work,
Okay.
and it's like a little too much for them. You know, I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very serious about what I do. Um, so, if you're not going to do it my way, then no, that's just that's just the way it is right here.
How do you deal with disappointment and regrets?
Oh, that's heavy. Disappointment and regrets to whom?
Maybe to yourself. Maybe you disappointed or something.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Uh, Disappointment is a strong word for me. And the reason why is my father did not discipline me in a he never put his hands on me
Hmm.
ever. He would look at me, and the one thing he would say would be is, I am so disappointed in you. And that would hurt so bad. And it carried on to me because even I was really, really strict with my kids. But the one thing they could not stand is if I said I was disappointed in you. And I think I said that to my oldest son a few times. And he said it would feel like you punched me. And so I have to be careful with that word. So disappointment for me, is a really harsh word. Like if my father was still alive and he saw all these tattoos, oh, I wouldn't hear the end of it. No, he would
Say,
be so
he was like, what happened?
disappointed. Yeah. Um,
Regrets?
Regrets, not that I have any regrets. That's not what I have, but I wish I would have done things a whole lot sooner. I turn 53 next week.
Wow.
And so you look back as you get to 50, you
Mhm.
start looking back, and then you're just like, wow, that went fast, you know?
Isn't that true?
So it's like, how long do you have left?
Yeah.
You're on the second you're on the second portion of your life. How much time do you have left? My father died at 49. And so when I turned 50, I felt like I was like, okay, when am I going to hear it? You know, that happened to my dad.
Mhm.
So when am I going to hear it? And it didn't happen. And you start looking at things a whole lot different. Things aren't as serious as you think they are. It's kind of like it's just life. Take it with the
How it comes,
all yeah, how it comes. Laugh a lot.
that part.
Laugh a lot. Because if you don't have a sense of humor in this life, you're never gonna make it.
Exactly. Is there anything that you want people to remember you?
I did my best. I did my best. And I that I love with everything in me. And yeah, that I worked hard for everything I have.
That's
Everything
great.
that I've done that I worked hard for it.
That's great. If any of the viewers want to get your service, how
Mhm.
do they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me directly by text.
Hmm.
Um, I'll give that to you. So if you want to put
You
a
want to share your media information to them?
oh yeah, we have two accounts on Instagram, one for piercing and one for laser tattoo. On Instagram, for laser tattoo removal, it's PYS. What is it? PYS underscore laser tattoo removal.
Hmm.
And then for pierce your soul, which is the piercing portion of it, it is just pierce your soul on Instagram. It'll come up. We're located in Glendale, right on Brand in San Fernando. So kind of in the middle of everything.
Hmm.
Um, you can reach out directly to me at 805-746-0447. That's my direct line. So you can text me anytime with any questions. I'm happy to answer all of them. My
It's,
husband loves the 2 o'clock in the morning ones.
it's ringing.
It happens.
So the first thing we'll just make an appointment with you.
Oh yeah. For laser tattoo removal, it's always going to be a consultation. And then I mean, we can do FaceTime, we can
Mhm.
do Zoom if you have an Android, Instagram,
Mhm.
however you want it. If it's too far for you, I mean, we have clients, back east. We have clients, up north. They'll fly out here to get treatment. It's
Yeah,
pretty surprising, but they do. Um, I think our farthest is Alaska. But they just make a consultation appointment and then we go over everything and pricing and scheduling and whatever they need. I'm there to help.
great. Um, any advice that you want to share to the youth, to the youth right now?
Enjoy your life right now. Have a great time. Be smart. Finish school. Treat your parents right. Treat yourself right. Um, Respect yourself and your wants and your desires and your ambition. Don't give up on it. If you have something that, I really would like to do it. Don't let anything stop you. But don't blow off school either.
Yeah,
Finish school. Be respectful to your family and your friends. Just be a good person. We need more good people, you know?
yeah.
It's a shitty world right now and we need better people.
Thank you so much. Well, with that being said, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Highly
Thank you.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you.
With that being said, remember that people will respect you as much as you respect yourself. We'll see you in the next one.